And ma'am, I would request you to please, that is your hot seat. You're absolutely at the right place. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, we are all set for the final panel discussion for our conference 2025 on the topic Sweet but Fierce, Indian Sugar, a roaring tigress in the global market. So I would like to welcome our moderator, Miss Manisha Gupta. Thank you so much for joining us today, ma'am. And now I would like to welcome on stage the esteemed panelists for this discussion. Let's welcome Mr. Manish Gupta from Sucden. Requesting Mr. Manish to join us on stage. And can we please give a round of applause? Our first panelist for the final discussion of the conference. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Amit Agrawal, Senior VP, Bajaj, Hindusthan. Sir, may I please request you to take a seat next to the moderator so we could be in the sequence? Thank you so much. A warm welcome to you, sir. Next, I would invite Mr. Claudiu Covrig, Senior Analyst at CovrigAnalytics, Switzerland. We love to constantly bring you back on stage. Please have a seat. And then I would like to welcome Mr. Jatin Kothari, Senior Officer, the Ugar Sugar Works Limited. And finally, Mr. Ravi Gupta, Director of Shree Renuka Sugars Limited. Once again, a warm welcome to a panel of very esteemed speakers. And with this, I hand over to our moderator, Miss Manisha Gupta. Can we just increase the volume, please?
Thank you. It's been lovely hearing you the whole day. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Last panel of the event, and thank you, Chini Mandi, by the way, because this event just keeps getting bigger and better, and we're looking at various very interesting conversations. I've heard about production numbers, consumption numbers, ethanol diversion as well, but I want to read out on what we are here to do. So we're going to talk about sweet but fierce and Indian sugar, a roaring tigress in global market. So global market is the new concept or is the conversation that we are trying to get into this discussion here. Ravi, let me start with you. Hi. Production, consumption, ethanol diversion, a lot has been said about that already. You know, when we were talking about Indian exports, whether it would be allowed or not, and it is allowed, by even if it's by 1 million ton, a lot of global participants did say that India is the swing trade in the international markets. Did that happen at all?
To come to straight to the answer so that other speakers can speak, I would say no. Because a million ton exports from India does not make any difference to a global market. In fact, on the other side, in my opinion, with the 1 million ton of exports of India, the global market took a sigh of relief that at least whatever India has to do has done it. It was a everyday news since last 3-4 months that India will be exporting, some say 3 million, some say 2 million, some say 1 million, somebody say no, it will not export. So the global market, you have to see the global traders, they are seeing it from distance. They are not in India. They what they read, they believe. So every day the conflicting markets, the market was not able to take any shape. So if at all, what the great impact which India had on global market is, that global market is now clear what has happened. So that much is the big impact which had. And you have seen the market has reacted. that a million ton is nothing, so the market has only been going up.
And would you say that the Indian markets are relaxed as well? Now we know what the numbers are like, and are we done with this direction?
So far, so good. But some people have also started talking about what will happen if the crop is lower. Is there any possibility that India will stop exports? So those uncertainty which was in the global market has shifted to India now. So, of course, the discussions have started happening on that context.
Some of the participants also said that if there could be another review by the end of Feb, and if the crop is fine, there could be more exports going. Is that conversation totally out of the window now?
So ISMA, which is leading the exports, has denied that there is no any further export possibility. And whatever my discussion with the government, that's what their view is. In fact, and whatever the numbers are looking like, I absolutely don't see any exports happening. And
but this 1 million will go.
See, in the last 2 years of my experience with the government policy, I will never firmly say that this will happen, this will not happen. I will only talk about should. So, in my opinion, if you ask me should, yes, it should get exported. If it is also interrupted in between, it will be a great loss to the Indian sugar industry and our credibility as far as Indian policies are concerned will be adversely impacted. So I can only tell you should, but what would happen, I really don't know, because decisions definitely will be taken looking at the Indian consumption and Indian consumer rather than the global markets.
Claudiu, this one is to you. How important is India's numbers, India's export in the international market?
India always played in the sugar market, and we know that from the name Chini or Zahar, India is a producer of sugar since ancient times. So it was always there, India. Just that now, lately, in the past decades, Brazil took over. Now, I want to add of what Ravi said. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but Indian sugar now is expensive to sell. If you sell low quality whites at $530 FOB, it's an expensive sugar, right? India cannot provide to the world market at, let's say, equivalent raw sugar 14 cents what Brazil can do, right? India is at a certain level, 18.5 cents at least, right? So when we talk about India entering the export market, we talk about higher prices, okay? So will this 1 million get out of the country? We have some scenarios, okay? Part of it could go to Bangladesh as official exports. This, we don't know how much. Could be 200,000 tons, 300,000 tons, we don't know exactly how much could be. But it's better than what people are doing or were doing last year, okay? It's dangerous, all these cross-border trades. So part of it will be there. Another part, we hoped that refineries will source raws internally, not only Renuka, but Pari and other mills, for example, right? And then don't take this raw sugar from Brazil and create here the value on the sugar and sell the whites. We are not sure about that. Ravi can discuss more about that. We are still not sure that they will buy now. Maybe they will go in maintenance. We don't know, right? So this kind of 200,000 tons that were already in the equation, that maybe they will source raws domestically, might not be there. So this will have to hit the international market, right? So it's a very complex situation. And sincerely, if you ask me now, I don't know if this 1 million tons of sugar will be sold to the international market.
Claudiu, one more thing, when you look at the India statistics, from an 11 million tons of an export to a 6 million tons, to a 0, to a 1 now, how would you look at Indian markets? So uncertain and so not sure, and you're not even sure about this 1 million ton.
Yes, that's the beauty of the game, It's also the international market is not stable, right? We have swings in the international market. Sometimes it's very bullish. Sometimes, the funds enter now. They go on the short side. They bring the prices down. Then there are rumors that China will buy, and then suddenly prices are going up. So you see, it's not that only India is faced with these difficulties, but the whole market is.
If that is any assurance at all. Manish, to you then. And the things are just getting more difficult when we look at exports. I mean, the earlier countries that India was exporting to, and as Claudio said, there is cheaper sugar available in the international markets now. And with what China is doing and what perhaps US could do in sense of tariffs, etc., how is India's place within that global map looking like?
I think the fact that, as Ravi said, it's a million ton, it doesn't make much difference to the global markets. So I think India within the hemisphere will find demand. We have Afghanistan, we have Sri Lanka. So there is regional demand for sugar. And whether India is exporting domestic sugar or not, India is exporting sugar from refineries. So there is demand within the region and will find homes. I think so. I'll believe that this 1 million ton should get finished in 3-4 months very comfortably. See, India is, as Claudiu said, India is not a regular participant to the global trade. We come in when we have surpluses, and then we vanish for years when we don't have. So, of course, our size of the supply is not one consistent and neither too big. I think for smaller lots we can find demand within the within the geography very easily. So for 1 million ton, I don't think so. We really need to go far. This is here.
Amit, this one is to you. And the way the Indian markets are right now, and going with the theme that we have right now, for the global markets, as Claudio said, as Manisha said, we're not such a big number as of now, and we're not even a very trusted partner in that sense. How are you looking at then coming back home to ethanol as a story? Because we're very fast reaching that 20% mark right now. There have been those conversations about corn ethanol being imported. We've had ministers talk about, even if India produces a lot of ethanol, maybe we can export it as well. Those are statements which are still floating around. Do you see a lot of meaning or weight in them?
Thank you, Chini Mindi, for the opportunity. First of all, for this export decision, before ethanol, I would like to touch the sugar part. Because when the season started, the numbers were like the cane price had gone up by, say, 7 to 8%, and the domestic sugar prices had gone down by 5%. So like within internal circle, we used to discuss, ye kaisa dhanda hum log kar rahe hain, So it was very painful, and I would say thanks to the government that very timely this decision has come. And for this decision of export of 1 million ton, we look at it that it has helped the domestic prices. Means the prices were below the cost. At least the prices have improved and now at par. So that's one of the positive sides. As far as ethanol is concerned, after consumption, domestic consumption, the next priority is ethanol. Last year, we had a tough time wherein, abruptly the diversion of sugar towards ethanol was stopped in between. But this year, thankfully, 4 million tons has been allowed. Yes, the prices for syrup ethanol and B-heavy molasses ethanol should have been increased. And we believe that this decision of not increase the prices may have some dent on diversion. How much will the dent be needs to be seen, but we feel that yes, definitely the dent will be there, and it will make the balance sheet more balanced. Means it will be a very, very balanced situation both for the millers and consumers, and I'm sure government will also be happy. For this decision on pricing for ethanol, we believe that it should have come because next year we are targeting 20%. Sizable portion has to come from the sugar side. Sugar is the main. I would say the whole ethanol program started with sugar. So to give them some confidence, to give them some roadmap, the prices should have been increased. And as the demand has been from time to time, that it has to be linked. It has to be linked with the cane price. That way, we welcome this decision for exports.
All right. Jatin, before I come to you, this one is to Ravi yet again. And because we're talking about ethanol right now, how would you look at the ethanol scenario? The Minister Puri told us that we've almost done 19.5, even 19.9% blending for the month of December. That has been achieved. But that's a 1 month thing. Whether we can sustain it, how soon do we reach at 20% is one part of it. Beyond 20%, there's a committee, we understand, which is looking at a framework beyond that. Then there is this whole import and export conversation. Where do we as an industry stand?
Thank you.
Yeah. Ravi can speak and then Jatin can take over.
So just to put some facts, the ethanol blending so far till date is around 16.5%. And December, you're right, we were at around 18.5%. So we are, we moved very fast. We should definitely give the credit to government policy for bringing the ethanol to just 350 million liters to at this stage where we are doing more than 9 billion liters today. But, growth has happened and now we have to take a next jump. So two things have happened. One, for the next jump, we have to have flexi-fuel cars. We have to have 100% ethanol consumption because taking it forward to 25% ethanol blending in the existing fleet of vehicle might be a little bit difficult. So we have to focus on generating the demand. Second big thing from industry point of view, which I believe, what has happened is that for 20% ethanol blending, we were to divert 7.5 million ton of sugar and approximately 16 million ton of grains. But somehow in the process of doing this, we have left the sugar backward. Today, ethanol blending will not be more than 4 million ton sugar diversion for ethanol, which should have been 7.5 million. So my worry is not only that the consumption is not growing, my worry is also that the sugar industry is leaving the space for grain ethanol, which today is not a problem because you are already talking about lower production, you kind of doing all these things. But in the coming years, when we will go to the normal years, that pinch will be very, very sustained. So I think what we need to see on the long-term path, that we should follow the roadmap which Prime Minister has released, in which 7.5 million ton sugar should have been diverted to ethanol, and rest should have come from grains. What my even bigger worry today is that if you look at the increase in the grain ethanol price, more or less in last 3 years, it has increased by 19%. Today, as we stand, corn ethanol is the most expensive ethanol, right? The percentage of corn ethanol has increased, whereas percentage of sugar ethanol has decreased. And also, the increase in sugarcane juice ethanol and bee molasses has not happened, which is a sugar-rich material, right? That further worries me that are we going in the right direction as far as sugar industry is concerned. So my concern on ethanol program are basically two. Number one, demand growth, which we definitely need. Also, the sugar industry has to work collectively to have the largest share of sugar ethanol as compared to grains for the long-term sustainability.
Manisha ji, I wanted to add a couple of things. First, on the export part, if you see in last 1 decade, India has emerged as a major export hub for the sugar. Different justification is there why consistent export is not there. But if you see the potential, so India has exported up to 11 million metric ton in the year 2021-22, where world market was doubting our capabilities as well as capacity. So here I wanted to just give one perception to everyone that, so we have the potential, whether it's a 1 million metric ton or 11 million metric ton, 6 million metric ton, whatever it is. Production number is same from last many years. Only thing is that thanks to the government of India, they came with the different policies to empower our farmers, to empower the domestic industry. So they came with the subsidies to export your sugar to clear the gut in the domestic market. After that, they came with the ethanol blending program. Recently, they came with your export policy. And I will thanks to government of India. At the right time, they came with the export policy. I don't know whether this 1 million metric ton of sugar will help us or not in taking the domestic price to the next level. But I'm pretty much sure that such kind of measures will give us the boost to the industry, and it will help in the longer term. As far as ethanol is concerned, government is ready with their all the options. Production number is same from last couple of years. They are only playing the with different options to control the prices in the domestic market, as well as we are showing our sweet supremacy in the global market. So that is my perspective on the global market as well, on the ethanol as well.
All right, so one takeaway really is there were three things that the sugar industry kept asking again and again. Ethanol price division, well, you didn't get that. MSP, you didn't get that. And export, 1 million tons, and after that, the industry is jittery on what really would happen onto that. So clearly, I don't know how to round it up for you here. But let me come to each one of you. And the first reaction that we saw of the export was an immediate price increase. I mean, that grabbed the headlines the next day. Ravi, let's start with you again. And we've seen a price increase in the Indian markets. We've seen a bit of a price increase in the international markets. How are you looking at, let's say, the next quarter or so when it comes to prices?
Okay. You know, you ask very sensitive questions, and I'm not used to telling a lie. So I try to balance my words that what should I tell you? You know, the price increasing, sugar price increasing at the time when the crushing is on is a very good sign that the production is not good. A lot of people attribute the increase in domestic price to the exports. But if you look at the facts, it is otherwise. The prices started rising at least 7 to 10 days before the exports were announced. And I think that pretty much coincided with Sholapur mill shutting down. So as far as prices are concerned, I think the demand months are coming. Summers are becoming swear. And one of my colleagues, you know, while chatting during the lunch was telling me, sir, this time, the winters were very just 1.5 month winter. So we are in for the summer months, and summer month, increases the sugar consumption. So to my mind, the prices will remain supportive as far as Indian market is concerned. But bear in mind that we are a regulated industry. So government have a stick in hand. So the more the price rise, they might use the stick accordingly. So, but price in domestic market may continue to go on the northwards only. Now coming to the global market. Global market, India has been a very bullish factor. Because since India has announced 1 million ton of exports, global market is certain that one supplier who could have supplied is out. So if you look at a 1 million ton of export, global consumption is close to 190 million tons, right? It is not even 1%, it is 0.5%. Yeah. And I have a different way of calculating demand. So like in India, even if everybody start, keeping 1 kg extra in his household, the demand is 1.2 million ton. Similarly, when the global market becomes bullish, everybody start keeping more sugar in its warehouse. So 1 million ton in the global market will create a more than 1 million ton demand in the global market. And so I think the global market will continue to, and also another thing which has happened. Today, for example, low quality white sugar selling is selling at $520. And if we do the simple math, it will come closely to, let's say roughly around 41,000 rupees X mill. But most of the licenses, which is close to 300,000, have been traded at an average price of 5 rupees. So if I reduce 41 minus 5, it becomes 36. So somebody will have to buy sugar from Maharashtra at 36 rupees to export without margins, and prices in Maharashtra is already 37 rupees. So if the global market needs that sugar, it will have to go further up. And that is how the market is also behaving. If you look at March, the March May inverse is close to $20. So it means March is higher by $22 as compared to May. So I think it will be a Tom and Jerry race, right? Where sometimes Tom will be chasing Jerry and other way. So Indian global market will become like that.
Manish, what is your sense? How do you look at the prices from here?
So I think talking about domestic prices, as everyone spoke, and largely I think it's a common view that the 1 million ton is supportive of domestic prices. We've seen the markets turn. We were in December at closer to 34 or lower. Now we are 36, 37, as Ravi said. So I think it's kind of given industry positive, momentum to build from here. Yeah. Now, how does it go from here? I think there's a lot of comment role into how prices move from here. I think there will be commenters watching closely, according to me, and I think beyond a particular level, there will be some action. They have got various tools. Which one they will use, difficult to say, but they will come up with something. They have shown their ingenuity in the past to manage the prices in a very favorable manner to themselves and to the industry. So I think they'll do that. Coming to exports, I think on the export side, as we feel that today where prices are in India and the offers are coming from India and the trades have been concluded at these levels, this sugar will find demand. But anything beyond this will start becoming more and more difficult to find clients and customers. March is right now, we are in a month where we are going to see expiry for London March and then towards the end of the month for New York March. So that would probably give opportunity for India in terms of better prices to get into contracts and then kind of ship it out. But considering that it's 1 million ton, I think we should finish it in next 3-4 months, and we will not hit the wall of Brazilian sugar, which will come in May and June. So with that, I think the Indian sugar at these prices, closer to these levels, will find homes and should be okay. Any significant rally from here, maybe the demand itself will start to, take a beating and wait for a time. So with that, I think in general, you wouldn't speculate on the international market. It's a lot more factors than the physical demand supply. But this physical 1 million ton should get traded very fast at these levels.
Amit, how would you react to this?
Well, as far as domestic prices are concerned, we believe that is it really in our hands or hands of industry for prices? It's all government managed or decided. Yesterday, Honorable Minister Gadkari Saab made a statement that government control in industry, it's a good news and bad news, both. So we have seen that for sugar prices, the sugar prices goes down, government intervenes and makes sure that the prices improve.
Amit, let me
level.
reframe this question. What is with government? What is in government's hand when it comes to sugar as an industry? And what is in your hand? Let's talk about you.
So as far as our end concerned, like I said, it's a very balanced situation. We are expecting closing stock to around 6 to 6.5 million tons closing stock. And with this closing stock, it's a balanced situation, unlike last year wherein the closing stocks had increased. So prices have improved, and we believe that prices will remain supportive as far as fundamentals are concerned.
Claudiu, international markets.
Well, international markets, they have a seasonality like everywhere, right? Now we are in intercrop period in Brazil. Brazil is the most important exporter in the world, right? Definitely they have raw sugar. Now on the whites, we don't know what they're gonna play, but for sure they will have at least, let's say, 3 million tons of crystals for the international market. And when these 3 million tons are starting to pump in the market, we will feel a certain pressure on the whites. Now, the good news on white sugar is that it starts to look a bit better in terms of fundamentals when compared to the raw sugar. Why? Because Brazil will come with raw sugar into the international market, while white sugar now, after Ramadan, you have demand pre-Ramadan and post-Ramadan. Post-Ramadan will be April. So let's say April, May, we will see these countries coming to the international market to ask for sugar. Already we see some signals on the low qualities. For example, West Coast Africa, there was a trade 2 days ago done at $104, $104 delivered to the port in Lome on top of London for refined. Why happened this? Because Brazil doesn't really have refined sugar, and then they compete for these markets only with the European sugar, right? And Europe, to go there down, it costs money. So they are almost at the same levels, but $104 on top of London, it's a good price, right? Unfortunately, India doesn't deliver there because for India it's easier the east coast of Africa. But my point is this, okay? We start to see some demand coming from the white sugar market. And white sugar market is a very technical one. It's the first one to react to demand, okay? So we see this. Then we had also other things happening. In Ethiopia, there was an increase in duty last week, I think, $50 increase in duty in Ethiopia. So it means that the price there is spiking. And with this Ethiopian price will spike also Djibouti and all the other countries. So another thing that also happens on the white sugar market is that, for example, Savola is not offering in Egypt any sugar now because they keep for Ramadan. Also Saudi Arabia, other refineries, Dura and Savola, and whoever is there, is not offering any refined sugar. So that's why we start to see some kind of a support in the refined. So there are some good news, but these have to be confirmed in the next months. But on the other side, on raws, there is this Brazilian thing that we don't know because everybody's working with a bigger sugar mix number there. I've heard 41.5%. We are at 40.5. 51.5%. We are at 50.5%. So if this will happen, then they will have a very big impact. But will this happen? Because if New York goes to 16, where China is buying, or 16.5, then also the ethanol floor could be there. So then the Brazilian mills will say, hang on a minute, I will not do so much sugar, maybe I'll do more ethanol.
Oh, well, yes. So this is so much to watch out for the international markets there. We got stuck with currencies and what Trump's doing and whether China is not buying or Brazil's whether and how much ethanol they are producing. But yes, there's just so much more to that, just that. Jatin, your final comments on this.
Yeah, I wanted to comment something on the domestic prices. People are saying that there is a spike of 120, 200 rupees per quintal in last couple of weeks. But Manisha, if you see, prior to start of the season, the prices were hovering at same level, 36 and a half or something at that level only. And everyone was comfortable during those period. During season, many sugar mills required working capital, and there is a peak crushing season. So because of that reason, there is a little bit depression, or you can say a little bit decrease in the sugar prices from 36 to the 34 level. Now I feel that since production number coming on the lower side, as well as now millers are at very comfortable level, so this spike is because of that reason. And as I agree with the Ravi sir as well, this 1 million metric ton of sugar has not added any fuel in the domestic market. Yeah. And during the summer season, I feel that market will remain range bound, and Maharashtra, Karnataka, as well as UP spread, which is somewhere around 3.5 rupees, will come down because there is a lesser production in Maharashtra as well as in Karnataka. So I feel that that spread will shrink somewhere.
All right, so clearly that is the cue coming in from the Indian markets and the international markets as well. Before I give it back, I just want to know, a clear thing here. Jatin, let's start with you. Did you make money this sugar season? Are you making money this sugar season? It's a yes or a no?
No.
Ravi?
इतना डिफिकल्ट सवाल एक शब्द में तो इसका जवाब नहीं दिया जा सकता, but I would say no, because the reason is that the capacity utilization will be much lesser. Ethanol capacity utilization will be around 40% of the total capacity. You have sold sugar at a cheaper cost in 1 quarter. The recoveries which I'm seeing even in UP are lower. So I don't think unless the prices comes to a reasonable level, people can make money larger than last year.
Amit, have you made money? Somebody has to have made money.
I agree, it's a difficult question to ask.
No, it was an okay year, it was a bad year, it was a great year.
I would say that it's a balanced situation, and particularly
Balanced.
we are a UP miller, our cane price is still to be announced.
Okay. How would you say, I know it's not, you're not a company, but how would you say the trade has been? Trade has been good for this year. Claudiu, trade has been good for this year?
Part of the trade, not all the
So
trade.
we know who's making money. Thank you for putting that out. But then, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for your comments. And I think with that, we can pass it on to the lady in red. There she comes.
Thank you, ma'am, for conducting a very insightful session for us. And also thank you to the wonderful speakers on the stage. To felicitate this panel, may I please welcome on stage Mr. Yatin Wadhwana from Comdex. I request you to join us on stage and let's have a huge round of applause for this esteemed panel of wonderful speakers and the moderator. Let's begin with Miss Manisha Gupta. Mr. Manish Gupta. Mr. Amit Agrawal. Mr. Claudiu Covrig. Mr. Jatin Kothari. And last but not the least, Mr. Ravi Gupta. Requesting all of you to please take center stage for a photograph. Thank you so much, everyone. That was wonderful. Please do join us in the audience.